All right, welcome. So, I wanted to chat with you and do kind of a little series about this incredible book, Think and Grow Rich. There's a reason why we read this every single day in our study clubs because it is so incredible, but we need to break it down. And specifically to the niche that I speak to, moms raising young kids, or maybe your kids are a little bit older but still live with you, and there's just so much in you've just come into this work. So let's break this down and how you can use these principles and all of this awesomeness in motherhood, life. Like it goes beyond motherhood, but this is specifically what I just love teaching about. So the power of thought, and we know how important that is. Everything that we do starts with a thought. Or if it's something we want to change, it has to start with a thought, right? That's exactly what this whole webinar is about. It's all based on chapter 1 of Think and Grow Rich, and how important having that thought and actually thinking in our conscious mind will change the trajectory of our life. So nothing will happen, and as we know in this work, nothing will happen until we first have that thought. And that thought, you know what I mean? I'm pointing to the head, but I'm talking about the mind. We have to have that conscious thought in our conscious mind first before something can go into our subconscious mind. So without that thought of, I want to change something, or for me, a big one I was working on was having an incredible morning routine. That had to start as a thought because our current morning routine, up until yesterday, is what we like to say, was not going the way that me, with my goal achieved self, would like it to go. It was lots of stress and chaos and lots of not listening. There wasn't much help from my kids. So at the time, I had a 2-year-old, and and our newborn was born as well. Anyways, so it was lots of emotions would come up because I would get frustrated that they weren't able to then get their shoes on and get kind of us going, right, for the morning. Because I'm on study club, I read until 7:15, and then I hop off and go get them up from bed if they're not awake yet, and then just like jump into our routine. And then we've got to be out the door before 8:15. So we've got an hour to get everything done. Sometimes I didn't get my oldest lunch for school packed the night before. So it was like that I'm doing breakfast, doing lunch at the same time. So it was just a lot. And then kids needing me, my newborn needing to be fed. There was just a lot going on. And if you're in the same boat, you will be able to resonate with that morning routine. Needs to be a routine. It can't just be a fly by the seat of your pants kind of feeling, because there has to be schedule to it. And in previous videos on this whole kind of talk that I do, I have chatted about routines, chatted about the routine cards, and I will then kind of link up more of this stuff because I think these cards are incredible. I got them from a friend. She didn't create them, but she used them in her home, and they were game changers for her. So I'm like, I need to adopt this in. And now I have them. So if you've ever seen me in my kitchen when I'm doing a video, you've got I've got all these cards behind me. That is for our meal time. So our kids know when it's meal time, breakfast, lunch, and supper, what to do. and we've got some in the bathroom. I've taken them down from their bedroom, but I'm feeling we need to put them back up now that the two oldest are sharing a room. So we're gonna work on that and getting their morning routine with cards. Like, they know what they need to do, but having a card as a little reminder is so important. So if you're kind of in this boat where you're like, I don't have a morning routine, start one. Start by what you need to do and go down the list, and then fit in how much time you're roughly going to take for each thing, and knowing how much time you have to, like, if you wake up and don't study right away, then figure out your wake up time to when you have to be leaving to get the kids wherever they need to go. So back to this, I get on so many tangents. Back to Think and Grow Rich, and integrating the power of thought. So it's like we have to start with that thought first to know that something needs to change. And this is where our awareness grows, because we've become aware that something needs to change first. And then we can adopt in the thought, okay, what would it look like if I did this? Or a lot of the time, can I wake up half an hour earlier than I'm currently doing, or an hour earlier? If you don't have that time for you as a mom first, then you're starting your day off on the wrong foot. I will 100% vouch for that, because that is how I started my days before doing this work. My child, if you've ever heard my story, go back and listen to it on the introduction to Mindset and Motherhood, because my child was my alarm clock. And that's not the way that we're meant to get up and get ourselves going in the morning, because that starts you off on the complete wrong foot. You can't have that moment for your intention to become an intention if you didn't set it the night before. I highly encourage you setting it the night before. That doesn't give you a time to have some gratitude because you're being woken up by a toddler, and that's not okay either. So get in the habit of having this morning routine, to understand that, to create that thought that this needs to change, or you go through the motions of your day and you're like, I don't like the way this feels. It starts with you, right? It starts with you. It doesn't start with your child. It starts with you. That is exactly what this work is all about, is you have to work on you first. And that is the most important thing that you will ever do, especially as a mom and wife and leader, and whatever roles you play in your world. That is very important. Just going to pull up a document because I want to make sure I touch on all of my points. But so, for being, or bringing, I guess, this into your life, because I know it's not the first habit that most people have until you've come into doing this work with us. It starts with you. We already know this. And I want to talk about the story. So if you've never gone through this book, I highly suggest you start, because you will pull something out of it that you're meant to read and hear. And it's going to bring up something within you that you're meant to move forward in. You're meant to grow. And I want to pull up the story. If you're not familiar, get your book, go to chapter 1 and read the story of being 3 feet from gold. So if you have this copy, it was on page. Anyways, it's in the first chapter. I can't find the exact page right now. Page 5. Sorry, been on the wrong side. And it is all about a man who went to search for gold. So again, we know this is written in many, many years ago, but it's the lesson that we're going to take out of this. So it was a man who was digging for gold and didn't have the thought that he was so close. So it goes into details. I want you to read it because it's very powerful. But he quit. The whole idea around it is he quit and then sold everything to a junkyard man. And that man knew where they stopped digging, took all of his equipment that he bought for basically nothing, and went, and he had the idea or the knowledge that the gold lines, there could be fault lines. So he was able to keep digging, and he realized when they stopped digging for the gold, they were 3 feet from it. And they thought they had gotten money from gold, and then they hit a fault line. So what we can learn and how we can bring this back to motherhood is that you need to persevere in motherhood. You are generally, in most cases, kind of the leader, let's call yourself the leader of the house. A lot of the times, moms are that role in the home. They kind of set the tone for a lot of things. They're the first ones that get their kids up in the morning, usually. Sometimes it's dads, doesn't matter. But it's just whoever that person is we need to realize that in motherhood, there is so much perseverance. So for me, years ago, it was getting up because my toddler was awake, even though I didn't want to get up because I was in such a depressed state and did not want to get out of bed. But I knew I had to because I had a little human relying on me. And so it's not about giving up on anything in life. If you are that person who has given up on their goals and dreams and you're not pursuing anything for yourself, your children see this. They see it big time. And it is basically, without you using the words, you have given up on everything in life, is how they see it, right? You may still be showing up as their mom and their wife or partner to their dad, but they know that it's not your purpose. Our purpose in life is not meant to be just a mom or just a wife or just a partner. Our purpose in life is so much more than that. And by you going after something that you really want is teaching your kids so many lessons. So many lessons. They get to see that you're allowed to go after something even when you are so busy, even when you have everything telling you to quit and everything telling you to not do it, but you get to persevere and you get to move yourself forward, which, because in turn, you end up becoming a better mom because you've done something for you. And it all starts with you and that thought to be able to move forward. Because we know throughout our day, dealing with meltdowns or behavior or whatever, managing that busy schedule, overcoming those personal struggles or the paradigms or everything that's coming up for you can be a lot. There's so many obstacles, honestly, that we face and challenges throughout the day, but it's how you overcome them and how you handle things when you are faced with so many difficulties. And those are the things that your kids remember. They remember how calm. They might not remember the words you use, but they remember that feeling. And we know that when we bring feeling to something, that is getting it into our subconscious mind. And as kids, they don't have a conscious mind. So if we're looking at ourselves, we are the full circle, conscious on the top, subconscious on the bottom. Kids don't have that. Up until the age of 8, all they have is this half circle. All they have is their subconscious mind. So everything that we say and do and make them feel, and trust me, I'm speaking to myself, it all goes into their subconscious mind. Because as a child, we bring a lot of emotion to things. And that automatically puts it into our subconscious mind. So when your child has all these things that are coming at you, it's how you can handle it is the real test to your child's behavior. And I know that may sting a little because it doesn't feel good when we take ownership that we may have done something that was not the best option or decision in the moment. But it's about recognizing that you're not perfect. They are definitely not perfect. And we all need to grow. And that's honestly what this work is about. It's about balancing all of the things that are coming in and all the situations and circumstances and figuring out how we can persevere because we are so close to that gold. Does that make sense? Because when we keep going and keep pursuing and doing the things that bring us joy, that only brings more joy to our kids and to our home and all of the areas of our life that we are a part of, right? So I challenge you to create a morning routine that is going to work with you, your kids, your schedule, and that is going to feel good. Because ultimately, that's what this comes down to. If there's something or a way you're doing something that doesn't feel good, change it. Okay? If you already have a morning routine, find little things you can interject or add in that will make it that much better. Okay? How can you, as a mom, we're in charge of setting up our own kind of tones for the day or our own vibration. But as a mom of littles, we are also in charge of that for them until they realize how to do it for themselves. So how can you make your routine better? Or maybe it's your bedtime routine. Morning routine was just something I needed to work on. Bedtime routine can always be just as chaotic and stressful as the morning routine. But for us, it was just me in the mornings. I didn't have the help of my husband because he goes to work at like 4:30. In the nighttime, it's a little, it can be stressful, 100%, but there's 2 of us. So it's like, got this. Okay? So that's what I challenge you to do. And go and read this chapter in Think and Grow Rich. If you're like, I haven't been through this book yet, or I've only been through it once, or I've been through it, but I don't understand it. This will kind of help you break it down and see how it can kind of pertain to you in your life, right? Because our thoughts are so powerful, but chances are we're not even using that power, right? Okay, that's all I have. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week.